Welcome everybody, this is the Wrestling Figure Historian, here to take a look at the history behind the figures. Now this is my first episode on these wrestling figures, and to give you a brief backstory, I do love collecting wrestling figures, especially the flashbacks and the old school wrestlers. But sometimes I wonder, why did Mattel decide to choose these attires for the wrestlers? What was the story behind it? Well, today we're taking a look at Cowboy Bob Orton and wondering what time in history did this figure's attire come from. This is from the Wal-Mart exclusive Flashback series. With this is also a Build-A-Finkel included with all the wrestlers in this series. Now, taking a brief look at this Bob Orton, I can already tell there's one mistake on the package. Yes, it is Cowboy Bob Orton, but during this time period, and you'll see later why, this was during his Ace Cowboy Bob Orton period. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's talk about the packaging first. It comes with the classic WWF style, well now WWE Retro style logo and baby blue backdrop, which is a nice look for all these retro style figures. On the back, there's a nice portrait of all the wrestlers involved with the series and which parts of Howard Finkel come with each respective figure, and a preview of what Howard Finkel would look when he's completely built. Now with this, we'll take a look again at the front. Has a nice portrait of a confident Ace Cowboy Bob Orton. Now he comes with his gambler style cowboy hat, blue trunks, and when we open this package, we could see his Ace Cowboy boots. This comes from a very interesting time in Bob Orton's tenure in the WWF. Let's take a little look into Bob Orton's history. Throughout his tenure in the WWF, throughout the mid-80s, Bob Orton was kind of known more as a lackey or a bodyguard to the major heels at the time, such as Roddy Piper, such as Adrian Adonis. He would eventually form a tag team with the magnificent Don Morocco. However, things would start to change for Bob Orton as around May of 1987, he was given a non-title match against then WWF champion Hulk Hogan. Now, this would prove to be one of Hogan's toughest matches actually at the time. It was not a simple squash match where Hogan just beat the heels in 5 minutes flat and that was it. Orton actually gave him a tough challenge. In fact, the ring broke during this match. That's how hard of a match Hogan was given. Hogan would eventually be able to withstand the onslaught of Bob Orton and pick up the victory with his famous leg drop. This, however, kind of gave Orton the confidence he needed to possibly want to break out on his own. But he was still in a tag team with Don Morocco. Orton's ego would eventually lead to tension within the team, to the point where egos between both men would swell. And this did lead to Bob Orton actually deciding to turn on his partner because he felt that his partner was holding him down and stealing his moves. This would end up being the act that gave Bob Orton his chance to finally break out and be on his own. You could tell this was actually going to be maybe Orton's one last chance to be in the main event in the WWF. But unfortunately, he would leave soon after and kind of go into obscurity. So, with that said, I guess it's now to take a look at this figure and see if Mattel was actually able to capture this moment in history. So with that in mind, I'm going to start unboxing this. Well guys, this is Bob Orton out of the package. Now as you notice, real quick, this comes with, again, Finkel's head and the microphone to go with Howard Finkel. So, here we go with Bob Orton. I could tell it does come with the new arm articulation at the elbows, right off the bat. So this does have the brand new articulation that Mattel is using going forward. This is a basic figure. So compared to the elite figures, you are gonna miss the torso articulation for him to bend over. The legs only move up and down and back, and only one joint is on the knees, and only the foot moves side to side, doesn't have the ankle joint anymore. Unlike most basic figures, it does come with one accessory. Again, his gambler style cowboy hat, which I could tell you right off the bat looks really nice. You take a nice look on the side, has nice detail too at the brim. So I will give this a very positive review on this. Now let's talk about Bob Orton, the man himself. Love the head sculpt on Bob Orton. This is a perfect image of him. We could even compare him to the stock photo that they used for him. It's almost one-to-one. They did an amazing job on the head sculpt. The main match we had to discuss this figure was his Hogan match in '87. However, they did have a little subtle nod to his gimmick that he had throughout the, I want to say the years '84 and '85, when he was teaming with Piper, when he legitimately broke his arm in the war to settle the score in a match with Jimmy Snuka. And he would actually keep a cast on for about 2 years and use said cast in his matches as a secret weapon. I won't lie, for the arm cast, I would have preferred that they made it a mold. But, not gonna lie, it's a basic figure. The fact that we even got a hat with it is a lot to say. Of course, his trunks are blue. What else can you say? It was a very simple attire that he wore. Comes with his black knee pads, which again was simple. But this is now where I say, this is the Ace Cowboy Bob Orton. Because at the time, his boots did say Ace down the side. And during that match with Hogan, it was these exact boots. One slight nitpick, not much. He did have the white and blue socks underneath his boots that were visible throughout his entire career that would normally match his trunks. Would have liked if they did that, but again, not a big deal. Other than that, I'm gonna say they did a pretty good job capturing Ace Cowboy Bob Orton. If I had to give this a score, I'd say a nice 4 out of 5. Like I said, the only thing is, I would have liked if they did a removable arm cast, because even like I said, during his Ace Cowboy period, he did not have a cast. So that would be the only thing that would kind of bother me and separate this from being a perfect figure. But like I said, I can't complain, and I am digging the new articulation for the arms on the elbow. With that in mind, guys, this is the Wrestling Figure Historian, and that's my look at the history behind the figures.